Everyone, welcome back. We've got some important reports. So, Polestar UK boss says more government support and public exposure to EV is needed, and I completely agree. This is Matt Galvin said government incentives were needed for the industry, but helping the public to re-gear its thinking around tech would aid sales. I completely agree because Europe has done a lot of talking about making the next step to becoming carbon neutral, making the next step to, bringing down emissions. And Chinese electric vehicles, EV vehicles that are built in China, they're playing a big part in this. Yet Europe doesn't want to accept these vehicles. Why not? Are they bad for the environment or something? I'm confused. You do the most talking about saving the environment. Here comes China to save the environment, and you're saying, no, stop. If Germany can't do it first, or if France can't do it first, China can't do it. That's basically what's going on. It's basically saying if German brands, Audi, Mercedes, BMW, French brand, Peugeot, Renault, if they can't do it first, China, you gotta wait. It's getting ridiculous. Yeah, government should be helping these brands to establish themselves more. Because that's what we've been preaching for the last 10 years is global warming, global warming. We all grew up in school and heard this thing about global warming, kept on being a more serious thing. And for China, it got to a stage of it was health risk. So China had to quickly adopt to EV vehicles. And they've done so incredibly well. And now they want to expand out. And the same people who were championing these remarks are now saying, no, we're going to impose tariff on Chinese vehicles. What? As long as they're paying their tax, I don't see why they can't operate and sell vehicles within Europe. Now, if you want them to build a factory in Europe, then say that. Say, why don't you instead build a factory in Europe? That way you can support our local economy. If you want to sell vehicle to our local economy, I need you to also provide jobs to our local economy. Just say that. That's a better thing to say. But to put just but to put unrealistic tariff on these brands is completely ridiculous. So Matt Galvin said the UK is not currently doing enough to encourage people to transition away from petrol and diesel vehicles. The managing director of the UK arm of the Swedish electric vehicle manufacturer said that the firm was also looking to increase its retail footprint in the UK to try and expose more people to EVs in order to answer questions they've had about them and showcase how far the technology around charging is advanced. So here's a quote from Matt Galvin, and I quote: the automotive manufacturers are doing all they can to reduce the cost of manufacturing and therefore pass on those savings to customers in terms of incentives. In September, a new body called Electric Vehicle UK was formed to combat that is called misinformation around owning an EV, saying there were a clear discount between some perception of electric motoring and the lives experience. On more government support from the industry, Matt Galvin told PA news agency, UK markets are the worst supported in Europe for any government incentive to help people transition from petrol or diesel to an EV powertrain. And we really need now for the government to step up. And I'm calling for the government to step up and assist not just Polestar, but the wider automotive industry to help customers make that switch. I'm glad he's saying something. I'm really glad he's saying something really, really positive. He also said, and I quote, I firmly believe that the automakers have made big step in quite a short space of time to lower the cost of buying an electric vehicles. They're still quite expensive, let's be honest, but the automotive manufacturers are doing all they can to reduce the cost of manufacturing and therefore pass on those savings to consumers in terms of incentives. We at Polestar have recently launched 0% financing campaign across all our range. So I feel that we're doing our best or feel like we're doing our bit. But there isn't the carrot coming from the government for people to make that change. That carrot needs to come in form of maybe halving VAT on all new electric vehicles and certainly leveling the VAT on public charging, taking VAT down to 5% in line with the domestic charging. That would also be a welcome step forward. He added that more needs to be done around public charging infrastructure to help people get over the so called charging anxiety. The uncertainty about when and where a user can charge their EVs, which he said has replaced older fears about the range of electric vehicles. So that's crazy. One, there used to be this consensus that electric vehicles can't drive for too long, maybe 100 miles, maybe 150 miles. Now that most electric vehicles can go over 200 miles or or 250 miles. The new, argument is, well, there isn't enough charging stations. And what if I can't find a charging station? So charging infrastructure definitely needs to be developed. Mike Galvin also said, I don't think it's much about range anxiety that it is about charging anxiety. It's if I'm caught out where I can charge, it's easy. Am I going to be stuck for hours waiting? He said. I think we all need to re-gear our mind a little bit to open this new technology, because the majority of people that drive 8 to 10,000 miles a year, they probably need to charge a vehicle once a week because range has gotten so much better. So the technology is now much better, and it's one of the things that where until you've experienced it and lived it, it's difficult to get your head around it. So like I said, I'm glad that he's coming out to say something, and he's making a lot of sense. Now, this article does go on for quite a bit. So what we'll do is that we'll jump into some other reports. Check this out. Inside EV actually has a redesigned website. This is quite fascinating. They look quite different. Logo looks a little bit different, but still recognizable. So Polestar 3 has arrived. And I saw one the other day. I was driving on the motorway and I saw one, and I'm telling you, I saw it coming up next to me, I saw it passing me, then I saw it going off in the distance. And when it's going off in the distance, it had this cocoon kind of shape on the road where the air slides underneath, but it's designed in such a way that the air slides up at top. Now you might be wondering, I'm just describing a normal car. No, I'm not. I've seen many vehicles, some bulkier than others, but this one, it just looks like it just cuts through the air like a knife through butter. And it was in white and it was glowing in the morning after the rain. And I was just thinking to myself, wow, this is literally the perfect competitor for Porsche. I was like, wow, I really understand it now. This is really the perfect competitor for Porsche. When you look at it, if you're not familiar with Polestar, you probably think it's a Porsche at first. But in some regards, it looks better than a Porsche. Some regards, not all regards, but some regards. I love the rear of this car. It looks perfect, absolutely sexy. I'm not going to lie. The rear of these SUVs by Polestar, it looks better than Porsche's SUV, the rear. I've never been a huge fan of Porsche SUV rears, because sometimes it's okay, but sometimes it's really like that's not a completed design. But yeah, I've been seeing more of these Polestar 3s and Polestar 4 on UK roads. And I've been really happy to see these things because I've been with the brand. We've been with the brand for so long. And we've been supporting the brand, haven't given up on the brand. We've been supporting the stock, haven't given up on the stock. So to finally see these things on the road, it is really, really lovely. So let me know if you've seen them on the road in your area. It'd be fascinating. And how was your reaction? Because my reaction was like a child in a toy store. I was really struck out of this world. Another report that was coming out was that Volvo cars and Polestar cars, they now have access to the Tesla superchargers. The Swedish premium automaker will begin offering NACS adapters for their 2025 model year electric SUV starting on November the 18th. Polestar also made a post about this, and this was the post right here. Polestar owners in North America will be able to access more than 17,800 Tesla superchargers. That is an incredible job by Tesla to build that much superchargers. And remember now, they've been building these superchargers for a long time, over a decade now, I believe. So it's really good to see, and my goodness, do I love this picture. We gotta save it. That would probably be my thumbnail picture, if I'm being completely honest. By the way, apparently this is a new report. Polestar execs have voiced concern over the US government plans to impose bans on automotive solution developed in China. Both car parts and software developed in the country that falls under this definition. While it seems reasonable to protect the domestic market in the US, Polestar argues that many vehicles currently being produced in this market actively relies on Chinese technology. In particular, many Polestar EVs are being co-designed, co-produced with Geely Group in China. If the government does impose tariff bans, Polestar will be forced to stop all production at the Volvo plant in South Carolina and pull out of the North American market. The same fate likely awaits other automakers relying on vendors in China. This is very interesting. Very, very interesting, because this is an argument that's gaining a lot of momentum as the relationship between China and America, struggles. There's more talks that Chinese technology will gradually be banned in the US. They're doing this with TikTok, and the list will probably continue. And here's another article. Polestar delivers first Polestar 3 manufactured in the US to North American customers. I hope those are some happy customers with their new Polestar vehicle. The Swedish premium electric vehicle performance brand has delivered its first US-built Polestar 3 SUV to customers in North American market. Deliveries of the Polestar 3 began around the US and Canada in the past few weeks, and now units manufactured in South Carolina plants has begun as well. The SUV for the electric age plays an important role in the brand's continued development, as Polestar moves on a 1 to 3 car brand with Polestar 2, Polestar 3, and the Polestar 4. So this is fantastic to see, but imagine if, Chinese technology gets banned in the US, then the Polestar vehicles that are built in cooperation with the Geely brand would be in trouble. And it's not that easy to just, you've designed and manufactured these cars, with Volvo in Sweden, but with Polestar in Sweden as well, but with China, with Geely China. So it's a combination of different minds coming together to create these things. It's not that easy to just change these vehicles. So listen, this is where we'll end this video today, but I hope you enjoyed the video. Thank you for watching, subscribe, and I will see you in our next video. Peace.